Brazil burning. This year alone, some 5.5 million hectares have gone up in smoke, an area larger than countries like Costa Rica or Denmark. They're some of the worst fires that Brazil has ever seen, and most have been tied to arson. Police are taking the issue seriously and have been tracking down those responsible for wide-scale deforestation. At 4 a.m., in a village west of the Amazon, a squad is gearing up for an operation.
Officer Diego, you take the house with Officer Luis. Okay?
The team is targeting arsonists about 50 kilometers away.
We need to leave very early to take the target by surprise and be sure they're still there when we arrive.
With 2.5 hours on the back of quad bikes ahead, it's going to be a long and hard trip. Dawn breaks and the damage from fires becomes increasingly obvious as the police gingerly guide their vehicles over the rough terrain. It's not by chance that this is where they have to go. Our arsonists have chosen somewhere to set up shop far from prying eyes. Only satellite surveillance enables police to spot them. In this particular zone, fires have razed 1,600 hectares this summer, as much as the year before. And at the center of the destruction, a makeshift house. A large sign calls it private property, but in fact, the land's been illegally occupied. The true owner, the Brazilian state. The police are wearing body cameras, which show what happens next.
Seu nome? Cadê o Damião? Tá aí? Solta essa faca aí, bota essa faca ali longe. Só afasta de mim, por favor.
The 8 people here are all agriculture workers living in basic conditions. Embers are still smoking all around, leaving police in little doubt as to who's responsible.
First, they cut down the trees, and then they set the fires. They do it year after year until all the biomass is destroyed and the trees can't regrow naturally. The aim is to grow grass and then raise cattle.
The detained foreman readily admits coordinating with a rich boss, one he's never met, in return for the equivalent of €600 a month.
We know that it isn't good to spread fires like this. We're not doing it for fun, but we need to work to feed our families. The rich pay people like us to do the job. Do you get what I mean?
The man will find himself before a judge soon enough. But in the meantime, police act, destroying both the entire site and the machinery used for deforestation. At the same time, 3,000 kilometers away in a Sao Paulo suburb, another operation is underway, with police moving in on the suspected backer in his home. It's almost like a drugs bust.
Mandado da Polícia Federal.
The man, a veterinarian, was still asleep. Police had been investigating him for more than a year and had wiretapped his phone. They suspect him of illegally occupying 10,000 hectares of land. The man could face up to 18 years for destroying the forest and criminal conspiracy. It's an undertaking that's going on at all levels, from the wealthy to poorer Brazilians suspected of starting fires to occupy a few hectares of land for themselves. In their case, they often lose control of the fire, particularly during periods of drought. And that's the main cause worsening the forest fires this year.
The forest fires are getting more severe each year because rising temperatures are accelerating evaporation. That's what's spurring the blazes, including regions which had not been hit until now, like around Sao Paulo or in Mato Grosso state.
With a 30% increase in fires reported compared to last year, Brazil's local flora and fauna are also getting hit hard. This group takes in and treats wounded or orphaned young animals that have been caught up in the fires. They've had 110 so far this year, from paracanas, a type of rodent, to anteaters. Numbers are lower than usual, since the fires have been a lot more violent and many creatures didn't survive.
This is a royal sloth. When she got here, she weighed just 500 grams. She's put on some weight. She came in from an area that was burned. She probably got separated from her mother.
The slowest animals are the worst off, like this rescued 2-meter-long boa constrictor.
He was burned on the head and neck, all the way to the middle of his body. He slithered over the embers to escape. It's really hard to see all this. We're wondering how many animals are left for the species to continue.
Doubt, too, for Brazil's under-resourced forest protection agencies. They saw their funding cut under Brazil's previous president, Jair Bolsonaro, and the current parliament has voted to make even more cuts this year.